Hello, and thanks for tuning in to this special edition of Scribe TV. I'm your host, Ryan Zunner, and this is Scribe TV on location. Behind me is the former Bethlehem Steel Plant. On Wednesday, November 9th, just a little over 1 month ago, it was the site of one of the largest fires we have seen in the western New York area. The former steel plant, for the past several years, has been used as a site to store recyclable plastics and for other storage materials. While the cause of the fire may still be under investigation, we still are left with many unanswered questions tonight. Many of them include the effects that nearby residents here may face as a result of environmental implications. The DEC, we requested comment from them, and they have not gotten back to us, and it has been several weeks. But many questions still remain unanswered here for the residents of Lackawanna. They include environmental impacts. They include health impacts, and a little bit later in this episode, we'll talk to one local area resident and her bouts with illnesses as a result of the fire. And then also the surrounding and background information of this fire. They include fire code checks and whether the building was safe to hold these types of chemicals. So was the former steel plant site up to fire code? Local journalists have sent in numerous Freedom of Information Law requests. That's the state law that allows journalists and members of the public to request public documents from their municipal governments. These journalists sent these requests in to both Lackawanna City Hall and the Lackawanna Fire Department. What these reporters got, however, was pure silence. Officials violated the Freedom of Information Law by not even responding to the requests made by the reporters within the allotted 5 business day window. Finally, just a few days ago, city officials released those crucial fire inspection reports. Shortly after the fire, they indicated that the site was just inspected 2 months ago in September, but these newest reports released indicate that that is not true. The site was last inspected 2 years ago. Not only that, the reports are incomplete. The sections listing the presence of sprinkler and fire detection equipment left completely blank, just like the communication between city officials and local residents.
The morning of, I had planned on sleeping in because I was up late the night before watching the elections. And when I woke up, my mother was screaming, like, Rosalie, come down here, come down here. And I'm thinking, well, I know I'm not late for anything. So, I come down thinking, why is she freaking out? And we see just this huge black cloud of smoke coming out from the houses across the street from us. And then we start hearing explosions and like banging sounds. And, my mom says, well, we all got to go to work. And if you're just going to go back to bed, like, just keep the phone with you in case we need to evacuate or something. I keep hearing these explosions and they're getting more, louder and more often. So I get really freaked out about it. And so I go and I grab my dog and I pack up all my stuff and I get in my car and I drive to my aunt's house. And once I had realized that I forgot something at the house, I tried turning around to come back and all the streets were closed. Like Route 5 was completely shut down. So I ended up having to just live without it and stay at my aunt's house for a while. So I had spent that night in my house. And when I woke up the next day, so the day after the fire, you could smell it in my house, like fumes or something. And the air around my house was really foggy. Like the cloud of smoke had completely consumed my neighborhood. And it smelled awful for like a few days. And eventually the smell went away and they still said that there was, nothing wrong. It wasn't toxic. You'll be fine. But I started feeling sick. I decided to go to the doctor just to be safe. And sure enough, my doctor gave me chest x-rays and I had pneumonia. So I had spots all over my lungs and soot in my lungs. And I was coughing up black stuff for days and I was out of work for about a week. Just like really, really bad.
Lackawanna, the city officials, they did evacuate some houses in the area, but they never told you or your family that you were part of the evacuation?
No, that day of, I got out just at my own discretion. But nobody actually told us that we needed to evacuate.
Do you have a final word for the city of Lackawanna or, I guess, the officials that are now overseeing the outcome of the fire and any environmental impacts?
I think I'd say that for like future reference, I would tell them like that, when something like that happens, you shouldn't really take the chance, and you should really evacuate anyone in the area. I mean, I understand that their priority was the people that were directly next door or across the street, but the smoke was so big, like the impact was so big that it spread much farther than that, and I think that they should have evacuated because it could have prevented my pneumonia. So.
And you're definitely not alone. There's a lot of people that are dealing with respiratory issues and stuff like that. The owners of the Bethlehem, or the current site of the Bethlehem Steel Plant, obviously it's not owned by them anymore, have said that they're going to pay for cleanup costs, but nothing having to do with any sort of health issues. Was your house affected at all with any like physical damage or anything like that?
No, not significantly. There was some debris, like ashes, but nothing significant.
It has been clear throughout this whole investigation and this whole Scribe TV special that the fire at the former Bethlehem Steel Plant still leaves many questions unanswered for many local residents, and the effects will be felt for the near future. Reporting on location in Lackawanna, New York, Ryan Zunner, Scribe TV. Thank you.
This Scribe TV newscast was made possible by a grant from Roswell Park Cancer Institute and the BMT Financial Assistance Program.